Okay, yeah. Well, so it says live, but I guess it's not live because YouTube. But we'll broadcast this later, and like we always know, we don't do a fucking professional setup here. So look, I
No
bought
fly
this.
by the seat of your pants type of
I,
thing
I
here.
bought this. Look at this bottle. It's called Licks Hard Lemonade. Oh
Jesus.
Jesus, yo, like, I'm figuring. Let me try this versus Mike's. I mean, it's only fucking $12. I mean, shit.
Jesus Christ. Your
So,
liver does not like you for sure.
oh, look at that shit.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm so happy when you first talked about this because no one, people always say they want to do this stuff and who actually does it. And
Uh-huh.
the funny part, like you were telling me, I guess between Hulu and Disney Plus and Netflix and shit, I didn't know that Hulu bought the rights to Justified, and I found
Uh-huh.
out like 2 weeks ago, and you're like, dude, you know about this? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I had no idea they're bringing Justified back. Shit.
Yeah. So what is it we're here to talk about today there, blue collar loser?
Yeah, so we're doing Justified episodes 1 and 2 because the fuck, I was shocked they dropped both episodes, and I'm like, I thought it was just episode 1. Oh shit.
City Primeval, the follow-up
That's good.
limited series on Hulu now.
Yeah, and boy, it's just Justified eventually, like, how it goes. You said it before that eventually I want to review Justified, but Jesus
Oh yeah.
Christ, six seasons, 80 fucking episodes, they're an hour apiece. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
that's a
have.
lot. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
but no, but you're saying, Justified City Primeval. I mean,
Hmm.
it's been fucking 8 years since the show ended, and I'm
Yeah.
like, they brought it back. I'm like, oh fuck, man. So,
Yeah.
basically, so I like having someone like you because I told my kid because he's still slowly catching up on your Jack Reacher books, but he's like, Dad, Justified that books. I'm like, Wes reads all this shit, so I can get somebody's opinion who's actually read the book.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we can break down. I guess we just do episode 1 first and lead into episode 2. But I was
Okay.
wondering, like anybody, I mean, come on, how many fucking TV shows have been off the air for 5, 10, 15 years, and bringing a show like Justified back? Is it going to be
Yes.
all fucking wokeified and stuff and shitty?
Yeah.
And within the fucking first 2 minutes, man, Rayland, okay, Timothy Oliphant. It's been 8 years. Our time. What's it been? 10 years in the show.
Um, it's hard to say because there was a time jump in the last season. The
Yeah.
last couple episodes of the last season, there was a 4-year time jump.
Hmm.
So if you account for that, then add 10 years, I would say probably about 14 years from the penultimate finale where he busted Boyd.
Yeah.
So 14 to 15 years, give or take.
Yeah,
I would say.
because his daughter in the show. So the first fucking scene we see is his daughter who's 15.
Uh-huh.
But
Right.
in the TV show, it was at the 4-year time gap. Did he have his kid yet at the end of the finale?
Yeah, if you
Okay.
go back to the final episode right before he visits Boyd in prison, he is back down in Miami and he's visiting with his daughter, and
Okay.
she's a toddler. She's like 3 or 4.
Okay. So basically, almost like 10 years our time, 10 years showtime, essentially.
Yeah, so pretty
Okay.
it meets up with itself pretty good, I think. I think it's not too
Yeah.
bad.
But that's what, like, so, obviously Timothy Oliphant looked up his age, 55 years old, and like Tom Cruise and half these guys, he's got some more gray hair, some more gray up there. And you're thinking, it's been 10 years since we've seen Raylan Givens, but in Showtime, he never stopped being a marshal. So
Right.
within 2 minutes into the show, these jackasses rear end him, and you're thinking, okay, it's been 10 years. Is it going to be the whole current Hollywood trend where now he's pathetic and old, and fucking Raylan hasn't missed a beat? I mean, shit.
No, and I have more to say on that here in a bit, but yeah. So for the uninitiated, this is a limited series that they've created to be a follow up to Elmore Leonard's hit show Justified, which ran on FX from 2010 to 2015.
Yeah.
So we're now in present day. Raylan Givens is still a marshal. It's basically an amalgam of the book from 1980 called City Primeval, where the main character was Detective Raymond Cruz, who does make a brief cameo in this. And for those that are big Elmore Leonard fans, he was also a bit character in the movie adaptation of Out of Sight during the Detroit scenes. Detroit is another big setting with Elmore Leonard novels because he's from Detroit.
Gotcha.
So we find ourselves watching Raylan heading to take his daughter to some sort of readjustment camp or something like that because she's gotten herself into some trouble. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I'm so glad you said that.
She clocks some chick. She doesn't want to go. Winona is off on a trip with her new husband,
Yeah.
and they get an attempted carjacking off of, I would assume it looks like the Florida Turnpike,
Yeah.
and one of the two guys has out-of-state warrants to Detroit,
Yep.
and him being a federal marshal, that's his job, is to do prisoner transport.
Yeah.
Now, would he realistically have done that? I don't know. That kind of seems unlikely, but then again, we don't get to see it. It does another quick time jump after he busts the two guys,
Yeah.
and he winds up in court defending his actions, which, to be fair, that's the most criticism I've heard about the show so far, is they didn't like how the judge and the lawyer played the race card inside that little mini trial. And I mean, I don't know, man. They're in the inner city. You know, there's a lot of, race politics are going to get used in places like LA, Chicago, and
Goddamn
Detroit.
right. Yeah.
And or New York. Excuse me. And they have a lot of back and forth between Raylan and the judge. And I've rewatched the scene now 3 times. Raylan doesn't do himself any favors. His kind of take no shit, I say what I want to say when I want to say it, doesn't fly well with this kind of woke racist judge who's really full of himself. So what were your thoughts on the little mini trial?
Well, before we get into that, I just want to say that I didn't know this. You told me this, looked up. I didn't know that Raylan's daughter is fucking his actual daughter in real life.
Yes, that's Timothy
awesome.
Olyphant's daughter. Yeah.
So and like you said, sometimes it doesn't always work with chemistry in real life, but at least for this one episode, his daughter is fucking adorable.
Yeah,
and they play off it well. As
don't you think she kind of looks like the actress that played Winona too? Don't you think?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I keep seeing him because, I keep seeing Oliphant and Raylan in her, but I know what you're saying. No, as I was watching it, dude, a second, we talked about that privately, that it's become this thing because we're critical drinker fans, is what we're here for and shit, is that people now are so calling everything fucking woke that as I'm watching this scene, I'm telling myself that if this scene was made in 2013 or 2015 or 2010, nobody would give a fuck, because Keith David is a judge, and I was like, oh shit, Keith David, he still got it, and he's a kind of a fucking racist judge asshole. But then again, what he's saying, and I mean, come on, okay, you and me, we both been in prison, and we're 2 fucking white dudes. And for anybody in 2023 to think that, okay, well, it's a fair legal system, like, guys, come on. I mean, everything the judge said, he's like, this racist ass city, this racist ass legal system. I'm like, well, he's not wrong.
No. And we're talking to you right now, RTNZ and Kyle Posey. I saw your posts on the page. But listen, man, we did a rewatch of Die Hard 3 with a Vengeance. Everything out of Samuel L. Jackson's mouth was racist this and racist that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
all that, every single line out of his mouth was that. If that was played today, people would just be rolling their eyes. I get it. We've been inundated with wokeness, but that's not what's going on here. And I'll also point out the very simple fact that, with the exception of Raylan being put in, which I have more to say about that in a second, with the exception of Raylan being inserted into the story, the dialogue is word for word from the book, which was written in the 70s and came out in the 80s. Okay, so there's no woke politics being injected here.
No,
this is how the source material was written. I would also point out, as I pointed out in a private message to one of our members, because right now Facebook still has me kind of zucked, is that if you were to look at this from the other side of it, this is a half black, half Hispanic character, Raymond Cruz, which was the main character of the book, has been race swapped with a white, tall cowboy U.S. Marshal. I'm going to say that again. They race swapped the character to a white person from a person of color. So make of that what you will. Now, luckily for us, the lefty wokies don't, and nothing that happened before 2000 is relevant to them. So they haven't figured that out yet. But if anybody wanted to make a big deal about that. So now, as opposed to what we usually see, which is, they race swap a white character or a ginger character for somebody of color. They've race swapped a person of color with a white guy. So make of that what you will.
And then also, like you're saying, number one, it's the attorney. Now, being an attorney, anybody knows this, a good attorney, she's gonna do everything she can and use every tool at her disposal to try to
Right.
discredit Raylan and get her client off. So of course she's gonna fucking play the race card because she's a good goddamn lawyer. I can't blame her for that.
Yeah.
And it's also, I look at also the comedy of this because Raylan, he's bringing these guys fucking triple cheeseburgers, Slurpees and stuff, and instead of doing his job and bringing the two suspects right to the
Right.
thing, he brings his daughter to fucking detention. He stops and has dinner or lunch with his daughter. And
Right.
like you said, he's not doing himself any favors. But then again, if you watch all 6 seasons of Justified, there's been a few times where Raylan fucked up and
Oh yeah.
people got released out of fucking jail because
Oh
Raylan
yeah.
fucked up. And
Oh
also,
yeah.
like you said, Raylan number one is used to being the whole fucking series took place. What was it down in Louisiana? I forgot. It's been
What?
uh,
The
uh,
original series in Kentucky.
Kentucky. Sorry, yeah, it's
That's all right.
Kentucky because the show ended, but it's also been in Florida. But I mean, it's like anything, if you're a cop or federal marshal, you do things based on where you're from. And Raylan's used to Kentucky. He's used to doing things in Florida. This is his first time in Detroit, so he's not used to dealing with Detroit politics and shit and Detroit investigators. So, it's like I get where some people get turned off by the whole like, oh, this is woke and everything. And I'm like, everything this happens in this courtroom scene, I can see happening verbatim in
Yeah,
2023.
for
So
sure. For sure. And that's an ongoing theme, at least with the first couple episodes, and I can perceive that it probably will be
yeah,
throughout this limited series, is that, Raylan is old school. Kind of he's
yeah,
now in the kind of position that Chief Deputy Art Mullins was,
mm,
his buddy and his boss from the original series. He's kind of in that position without the rank. He's still stuck in his ways. He's still doing things the way that he likes to do them. And
exactly.
that's pretty consistent with his character in the books as well.
Yeah,
He's very unorthodox. And it both works for him and against him.
exactly.
And
And yeah,
we'll talk about that in later scenes, but there's times when other law enforcement are overdoing stuff and he goes
mm,
for the more simple solution, which
yeah.
tends to work for
And,
him, but
and
it also works against him.
the funny part, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like all the Die Hard sequels, but one thing I did like about Die Hard 4, which is funny, is Timothy Olyphant's the bad guy in Die Hard 4. The whole premise of that movie was John McClane, his exact words are like, you're an old fucking Timex watch in a digital age, but John McClane will not change who he is no matter how old he gets. And most people are set in their fucking ways. So Raylan, he's 55 years old, but still trying to be a cop that's 25, 30, and he's not going to change his ways. So it's like you said, a lot of people just won't adapt and stuff, and the laws and the system, it's constantly fucking evolving for better and for worse. So
I will also point this out, and this was made mention of much more in the books, but also in the series if you pay attention. Um, many times, both antagonists and friends have pointed out to Raylan that he's not really even a lawman. The original title of the show was going to be Lawman, but then Steven Seagal came out with that stupid
I remember that. Yeah.
series, so they changed it because they had the Steven Seagal Lawman, and
Oh shit.
the reason FX was going to title it that was because it was going to be ironic
Yeah.
because Raylan comes from a family of criminals, and the way that
Yes.
Raylan does things, Raylan, his whole MO, and it doesn't really change throughout the original series. It seems to have softened a little bit and changed, or at least smartened up and adapted as he's gotten
Yeah.
older. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens with this show. But his whole MO, anyone who's watched even a season or two of the original series can tell you, Raylan sniffs somebody out,
Mm.
and if he can arrest him or bring him in, he will. But if he can't, or it's even mildly difficult, what he will do is he will maneuver a situation in which the guy pulls on him.
Yeah.
From the very first episode, that's
Oh
established.
yeah. I mean, fucking
He
shoots a guy on the roof.
yeah, he
Shit.
will get it into a way to maneuver the thing so that there is a gunfight. He doesn't call for backup. He doesn't
Yeah.
ask for assistance. He wants to draw down on the guy. It's made that perfectly clear. So he's basically a criminal with a star.
Yeah. I mean, some people could debate. Now, like, funny part, I watched this show in prison of all places. I watched the first two
Right.
seasons in prison, and some could debate that he's borderline Punisher. If you break it
For sure.
down, it's
For
like,
sure. Even Boyd says that to him. I've been doing a rewatch of the original series too
yeah,
in preparation for this. And Boyd even says that to him. He's like, you should have just stayed with me and your daddy on this side of the law. You could still shoot as many
yeah,
people as you want and act like a dick, which is the two things you love to do.
yeah,
Except you'd have a lot more money. So
yeah. That's what makes Raylan a very. That's why this show was such a fascinating show and a fascinating character because of that. So, um, so yeah, we're seeing in what every, and I was doing my own review before we did this, that every Justified needs a bad guy, and fuck was it fucking 4 minutes in, we get our new bad guy. Like
Yep.
these guys don't play. I mean, come on, 2 minutes in, Raylan's pulling a fucking shotgun out. 4 minutes in, we're getting a new bad guy. 5 minutes, this episode one is going along. So,
What do you think of Clement
oh
Mansell?
yeah,
What do you think of the new bad guy?
oh yeah, he's cool as hell because like off the bat he freaking steals a guy's car and just he establishes he's a prick.
Yeah.
And this guy, he has the very like he's got that arrogance, like I don't give a fuck kind of attitude, like I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, and
Yeah.
just and he knows it, and it's just the guy is like arrogant as hell, but like I like him because he's cocky and he's the guy knows what he's about. So
I think one of the flaws from the OG show was they would come up with these creative villains, but never really give them, with the exception of Boyd, they would never really give them a lot of screen time and not give them a lot of autonomy and not give them a lot of background.
yeah, true.
I think they're doing really well to show this Mansell guy,
Yeah,
and like giving him a good backstory. They're showing what he's all about, and like you said, right from the first scene that he's in, you know exactly what he's going to do and
yeah,
exactly how much of a psychopath the guy is, and he's a fly by the seat of your pants, and
yeah,
do whatever I want whenever I want to do it type of character.
yeah,
He doesn't even seem to have much of a overall plan. He's not trying to take over the town. He's not trying to start a drug ring or whatever. He's just bouncing around from place to place, just doing jobs just so he can have money and bang hot chicks and do drugs. And I mean, and I think at the end of the day, I think he just likes to kill people.
yeah. I mean, that's what's cool is like, yeah. So these guys, they don't fuck around. Like within the first like 6 minutes of this show, what this show is all about, and that's what I'm saying. Like if you're watching the first 10 minutes, even the show before the first commercial, what Justified, and within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, Justified's back. Simple as that. And
Big time.
but
Big time.
so yeah, I'm skipping through Hulu right now, but so then it comes down to Keith David's character, the judge. Somebody tries to put a hit out on the judge, and ironic enough, he knows what kind of person Raylan is, and Raylan just like, fuck, I'm gonna go drop these two dickheads off. I'm going back home, my daughter. And the chief is like, yeah, the judge wants you.
Yeah, I like the juxtaposition that he thinks he's above Raylan in the way that I kind of took it as, he's one of those elite type people who doesn't mind using a working class person. In fact, he probably kind of gets off on it in a way. It's like, oh, this white boy's going to disrespect me in my court. I'm going to make him go hunt these people down. Because he does recognize that that's what Raylan does, and that's what he's good at.
Definitely. So. Yeah, so that's all basically the first 15, and I'm looking at the 18-minute mark. They do the fucking the house raid, which I'm like, hey, Justified, the action's kicking in, and Raylan, remember he's a federal marshal, so he's not used to working with Detroit fucking PD, and these guys, Detroit don't fucking play around.
I think it's funny that the complaints that I've heard was mostly about the lawyer and the judge, when I really found that one cop that he works with, not the guy that he partners up with. I like him a lot, actually. I don't know his name or the actor, but that one white cop, that he's just really obnoxious to me. Yeah. He is the epitome of some douchebag, blowhard, know-it-all cop. You know what I mean? Like, definitely. He's just, I think it's interesting that Raylan has become more, he's still effective, but he's become more low key. Let's not smash the door. Let's just try the knob and see if it's open.
Yeah, definitely.
And let's not, bust through and run the dog through the house. Let's look around and investigate, and maybe we'll find something that we're looking for. You know what I mean?
And I think that's a lot of people don't understand the nuance of that, because this happened when I told you about talking about God of War Ragnarok, and even people on the drinker page, that, well, Kratos seems like he's a lot more tame than the first 3 games. Even the drinker's like, well, if you played every single fucking game, it's not that he's weaker or he's less of a man, he's wiser, he's more experienced. And Raylan proved in the first fucking 5 minutes, this dude can still fucking draw a gun with the best of them. He can still whoop your ass, pull out a fucking gun. But now he's 50 in his fucking 50s. He's smarter. I mean, because Raylan, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, would have been the guy jumping in there. He would have fucking threw the dog in. But Raylan's been doing this shit more than, honestly, he's probably the oldest guy of the whole fucking team. So he's been there before. I mean, I think people, they don't understand the difference between, like, you're still good, but you're experienced too. So
Right. Like I said, that's why I kind of see a lot of him kind of turning into Art. You
yeah.
know, the chief deputy from the original series. I kind of see him doing that because Art was a badass too, but
Oh yeah.
he was more tempered. He didn't
Exactly.
just go fly in the face. Now, obviously, we'll get to that, but obviously, the end of episode 2 kind of, well, that a personal issue winds up, and we'll speak more on that in
Yeah.
a minute. But that kind of brings Raylan back to his original,
Yeah.
default setting. But yeah, I like seeing all this. I don't know the best word to say. Just this tempered calmness that he
Yeah.
has. This like, that old saying. Hey, do you want to the one bull says to the older bull, let's run down there and fuck one of these cows, whereas the older one says, no, let's walk down and fuck them all.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
Yeah.
Raylan now, and I like that.
That's what I said. I like Raylan because I felt like this would I will keep comparison, but God of War. It's like people tend to forget in God of War and then 2018 Ragnarok. Kratos, in some ways, even the directors and producers said he's more powerful now than he's ever been, but he's constantly holding himself back because he's older and fucking wiser. But when he gets fucking pissed off, like when Thor's like Kratos, I want to see the real you. No, he unleashes for fucking 5 seconds and one hit just fucking knocks out a few of Thor's teeth. Like, dude, if he wanted to, he would fucking tear you to shreds. So
Right.
don't think so. Raylan, yeah, you can tell he's more calmer, he's tempered, but don't think for a second Raylan is not still the same badass he was 10 years ago.
Right. Um, I'd like to speak on for a second as you're perusing through the episodes there. I'd like to speak on a second something that was very lacking in the OG show, and it's definitely a hallmark of Elmore Leonard's writing style and his narrative style.
Mm,
The whole moving forward with the narrative, then turning around and coming back,
yeah.
and coming back on events to give them a little bit more color. That was definitely absent of the original show. I can't think of one time where they actually did it. They
Mm,
basically just did a very linear storytelling, which is fine, you know. But a hallmark of anybody who's read enough Elmore Leonard or seen his movies, Out of Sight, Jackie Brown, like that, you get a lot of, you'll get a scene, an action scene, and then it kind of jumps backwards to kind of give you a little different perspective of what it is that you just watched.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I like that, and they're definitely using it to good effect. I would also point out one of the executive producers and head writers on the show is Elmore Leonard's son. So on this
Yeah.
current series, so I think he's doing a good job. I definitely like the narrative that they do so far. That was definitely absent,
Mm,
and it's kind of cool. If you look a lot of the shots that they have, I'm a big fan of Out of Sight about Elmore Leonard, both the book and the movie,
mm,
and they have a lot of the same scenes and a lot of the same settings that they had in Out of Sight. I really like that a lot.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, going for the episode looking at right now, we do get some more airtime with Clement there, and his, I guess his girlfriend. We're not sure like if she's his girlfriend or his booty call. It's kind of hard to tell, but
Yeah, hard to tell.
yeah, and his buddy here, the friggin' black dude. You tell the bartender there's some stuff going on with them guys, their history and shit. So and then going forward, yeah, the friggin' Raylan's get some more. He gets more scenes, and then we get, of course, Keith David at basically the casino, and I think a pretty good fucking car chase scene, which lasts about shit. It's like a 6 minute car chase scene
Yeah.
at the end of the
And
episode.
they did this really well too, because just like in the novel, this is like a happenstance thing. Originally, I guess the deal that he does now, when we see in the flashback scenes later, we see that him and the black bartender, Sweetie,
Yeah,
they would set up drug dealers. Well, now his hustle is similar, but now he has the girlfriend date some schmuck, and then he goes and
yeah.
robs the schmuck.
Oh,
And on his way to do that,
yeah,
just a random, the judge's dickhead entitled personality gets himself in trouble, and he how they always say you're gonna run across the right one,
yeah.
and he sure ran across the right one with Manziel.
Oh, before all that the chasing ends, we do have to point out, like you said, the scumbag in a sense lawyer, the black lawyer that was defending against Raylan. There's some more nuance to her than she initially points out. You think maybe there's some more stuff going on there where she's just she's kind of in over her head and she's upset and just trying to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, she's definitely got a lot more. I originally just saw her as like a one note character,
Yeah,
but they're definitely giving her a lot of nuance. There's some other stuff going on. She's got some kind of relationship with with the bartender sweetie.
Yeah.
Not really sure what that is. Maybe she's been on the other side of the law herself. She's got an ex-husband that's like pseudo blackmailing her.
Yeah.
And on the note of blackmail, I should also point out that after the house raid, it's brought to our attention that the judge has some sort of book that has, I'm assuming, blackmail evidence, or at least he alludes to the fact that he's got blackmail evidence on seriously powerful people
Yeah.
in the Detroit area. So
Yep.
he's going to be able to do what he wants to do. The female detective, the red-haired female detective, I didn't catch her name. She's got some sort of a case building against the judge for judicial misconduct.
Yeah.
And I think that's his. I think he kind of sniffs that out a little bit when she braces him and basically says, you know, hey, if I go down, I'm going to take a lot of people down with me.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause
So,
he definitely says that line where it's like, you know, the things I've seen, the things I know about, and some things that the people above you don't want to know about. And yeah. So and then we get basically to the end, like you said, the judge is telling our buddy Clement here, like, yeah, like, you know who I am and stuff, and you know who kind of person and what I'm about, and he doesn't give a shit.
yeah. So we've got the mini car chase scene
Yep.
of the judge and his I guess personal assistant.
Yeah.
And you know, the judge decides to get stupid. He assumes that Mansell is actually just kind of chasing after them when in fact Mansell was chasing after his mark. The judge causes an issue. They do a little fender bender.
Yep.
And again, like I said, he ran into the right one. And when Mansell braces him, you know, without hesitation, and man, fuck, he was fast.
Yeah.
He had that weapon up and just unloads into the judge.
Yep.
Chases down the assistant in a pretty brutal scene and just kills her dead.
Oh yeah.
In the
Of course,
park.
I mean, you can't blame the way she just comes out and like she tries running, and yeah. And even like the line he says right here is like, yeah, you know, you're not bad looking.
Yeah. Yeah, he's such a piece of shit.
Yep.
I love him. He's a great villain.
But the main thing that the episode, the whole premise was he pats down the judge, and the judge had a very important book on him. And the book's got a bunch of fucking names and numbers and graphs, and like, what's in this book? Oh.
Yep. So I guess more to follow on that. That's the MacGuffin of the series, I guess we're going to find out. So this has kind of just been stumbled upon. And now this is the plot point that is what's keeping Raylan in Detroit. This is the whole linchpin of Raylan being stuck in Detroit. We get a brief flashback scene of a previous job with Mansell executing a bunch of drug dealers, and also a pretty brutal scene.
Yeah.
And that's, again, I like that style. You know, it doesn't show it. It doesn't say 2 years previous or anything like that. You know, Elmore Leonard is the king of giving his audience and his readers 2 and 2 and letting them make 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So some people don't like that. They like to be spoon-fed their stuff. They like a tight, you know, like collected narrative or a streamline. I don't care for that. I like to be able to figure the stuff out for myself. So sometime in the past, Mansell, you know, did a job, got himself in trouble. And that's how the lawyer that we see in present day got inserted into his circle.
Yeah.
And now we've got, I don't know exactly. You've got the screen up. I don't. But you know, we figure out that at some point he stopped doing those kind of like rob the drug dealer thing and started doing the rob the boyfriend or client thing with the girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because I'm finishing up the episodes here. It's powerful. The very last scene, this is different. It's an older Raylan, but Raylan's looking down. You know, he's stuck in Detroit, and what's he do? Look down at his daughter. You know, and it's one of the powerful scenes where no words are said. It's just Oliphant's, you know, his acting, he's emoting, looking down at his daughter sleeping, and you can imagine what's going in his head right now. Like, man, there's some shit. It's like now he's got to bring his kid into this whole fucking situation, and as a dad, you don't want that.
No, definitely not. Especially not the kind of job that he has.
Yeah. But yeah, because overall episode 1, I mean, I was worried how would Justified be after 8 years? How would Oliphant be?
So was I.
Everything. And I just said after half hour, and I'm liking this shit. Episode ended. I'm like, man, fucking bravo. Justified is back. And as you talked about before we get episode 2, the first thing I'm thinking is, man, it's 2023, and how many people, not a lot, but there will be certain people like, yeah, guys, it's it's woke now, and I'm like, I don't think so.
No, it's not at all. It's the farthest thing from it. So,
Yeah.
and like I said, if you can't take my points for what they are and just understand what I'm talking about, then I mean maybe the show's not for you.
Mm.
So yeah, are we into episode 2 now?
I just started, but I just wanted to finish that first saying episode one.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, hey, Justified. I didn't expect a sequel series. I didn't think we'd get one after 8 goddamn years. But
Yeah.
after it's been 8 years, after watching episode one, I'm like, you know what? I'm happy. I have no complaints with episode one. I mean, we got fucking got emotion, drama, gunfights. You got fucking political intrigue. You got fucking violence, raids. There's a big fucking
A great villain.
yeah, I mean, episode one is everything I could have wanted in a continuation of Justified. So,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
yeah, and of course, episode one's called City Primeval, and episode two is called The Oklahoma Wild Man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Very, very heavy on exposition on our new antagonist.
yeah. But let's see, I'm just in recap. Of course, you got the so yeah. Let's see, we get the opening scene's pretty fucking badass because freaking our boy Clement here, what's he do? Robs a bunch of fucking drug dealers.
Yeah. Yeah. And not just happy with robbing him, but I mean he's
Oh, yeah.
he's of the opinion, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure there's no witnesses.
Yeah,
Pretty brutal.
I do like I said, some of his lines are pretty fucking cool because I'm looking at it right now. He says the line pulls gun out. He's like, yeah. See, this is why I'm not a big fan of weed. You sit around too
Yeah.
stoned to think. Pulls a fucking
Yeah.
gun out. Yeah.
And we find out later, obviously, that Sweetie is his inside man.
Yep. Call him a fucking
has gotten him in there.
call him
And when
the Judas there.
Yeah, and when he outs him, you know, it doesn't really matter because he's not going to leave anybody
Oh, yeah.
alive after this.
I know, and the fucked up part is friggin' our boy Clement here. He even fucking kills his own partner. It's like, dude, man, this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. But strangely, doesn't do that to Sweetie.
Yeah.
And his excuse that he gives him, hey, you once played in a band with so and so. You think I'm gonna get rid of somebody with that talent?
Yeah.
One of the underlying things is, Mansell considers himself to be like a rock and roller.
Hmm.
If you see it at the very first episode when we first get introduced to him, the only thing he takes with him is his jacket and his tape.
Yep.
And it's him riffing on the White Stripes.
Yeah.
So, and then but then there's also a scene where Sandy says that she has asked multiple times to listen to his music and he never lets her. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of nuances to these characters. Really, really going hard on giving us, these in-depth characters. I like it. I dig it. I'm digging it a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So it says 3 days later, but and this is this is 3 days later after they robbed the guys, but
Yes.
he's like
Yes.
he calls freaking Sweetie at the bar, and of course he's introduced to the freaking lawyer. And he's just all casual, fucking common hotel room telling his girlfriend, okay, he's getting the last drink and stuff too, smoking a cigarette. And he knows he's getting arrested, but also like you feel from him like this air of confidence, like, yeah, I know I'm getting busted, but I know it ain't gonna stick.
That's a staple with Elmore Leonard characters, whether they be the protagonist or the antagonist. They're just cool people. They're just cool. He even wrote a book called Be Cool, which is a sequel to Get Shorty. His characters, whether they be the bad guys or the good guys, are always just cool.
Yeah.
They're the coolest guy in the room. It's almost like they wear it as a suit of armor.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty badass scene, and it gives you a little bit more background. If you're not paying attention, you could be a little confused and think that stuff's happening in the present day. But once you realize that that's already previously has happened,
yeah,
and that's probably why he left after he got out of jail.
Yep.
That's probably why he left Detroit for a while, just to let things cool down after triple homicide and robbery.
Yeah, then we get the lawyer and good old freaking Raylan and his daughter. The this fucking scene with the room service is hilarious.
The room service, yeah. I didn't know what to think about that. Like, was she just busting his balls by getting all that food because she wanted to see if she could get away with it, or was she actually just trying to do some kind of father-daughter thing and take a poke at him? I'm not really sure. Just make it difficult for him to leave. If you leave me alone in this room, I'm going to do some, wild teenager shit.
Yeah. I think it's like a little bit of both there. And it's cool after the whole father-daughter scene. Then it just says, Justified City Primeval. And so it takes a good 10 minutes in before we get the title card.
Yeah, I'd like to take a minute and point out that I couldn't stand the original title sequence and
Really?
song
Oh
from
shit.
the original show. I hated that. I thought it was
Wow.
so stupid. This is so much better.
Shit.
I never really liked that Okabilly country rap bullshit or whatever that thing was that they
Yeah.
were doing on that. I could not stand that opening of. I'm so glad for streaming services where you can just skip the intro.
Yeah.
But I always hated that on that. I just thought that was the dumbest thing. I get it, it's Kentucky, I get it, little
Yep.
flavor, but it's just not for me. It's just not for me, man.
Yeah.
I don't dig it at all. So I like what they do now. But yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Where are we at?
so back to our boy Clement talking to his girl and stuff, and he's got the book. And I like this is a very good scene with Raymond and his new partner. And when
Raylan.
yeah,
Raylan.
Raylan. Yeah, her name is Sandy. But Raylan and his new partner, they're just questioning her and the whole like, well, you guys don't have a warrant. Oh, we're just asking questions. And it's one things where it pays off later on, but it's it's like Clement is hiding in the back bedroom, and you're telling yourself
Yeah.
that it's the way Raylan's acting, like how Raylan how much does he know? But the guy isn't fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's like
No, I like that both Raylan and Mansell both kind of know what each other is all
yeah,
about.
definitely.
And Raylan is playing it close to the vest. Mansell is happy to just keep hiding, but I mean, he's hiding, but he's not super worried or scared.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You get the impression that he'd just as soon just go out there and blast both of them right there. He wouldn't even
yeah,
care, you know?
yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and it's one of the things where it's like they're interrogating her. Where like we know that but she's playing off like she doesn't know, like she's fucking dumber
Yeah.
than she is. But they're both like him and Wendell are like we know, but we can't prove it kind of thing. And
Yeah.
you know,
This is the episode I really start liking the cop. I thought he was going to be annoying, but again,
mm,
I was pleasantly surprised. I find him to be a pretty good foil for Raylan, and I like his attitude. I like the whole thing.
yeah,
Raylan is always better when he plays off of people. You know what I mean?
that's true.
That's if I had any complaints about Jack Reacher, is he's almost always solo and
Mm,
he's always like the alpha Chad and stuff like that. And if Raylan is left to his own devices too much, he kind of comes off that way.
yeah,
But when he plays off of other people, like in the OG series, when he play off of Tim the sniper or the female U.S. Marshal, they would kind of take the piss out of him a little bit and just
yeah,
point out to him some of his eccentricities, so to speak, and the way that he does things. Because at the end of the day, Raylan, I think he knows what he's doing. He knows that it's not normal to walk around like the 1800s with a cowboy hat and
yep,
push people into gunfights. I think he knows that. He's self-aware,
mm,
but every now and then he needs somebody to kind of point him out. And I like
yeah,
this detective guy that he's partnered with.
yeah,
He's not stupid. I was really worried they were going to partner him up with the other guy that he goes on the raids with. I was really worried
yeah,
about that, but no, I like this guy. He's cool. He's pretty competent, and he defers to Raylan's wisdom on a lot of the stuff. Yeah, he knows the city and he knows the people, but Raylan is a professional manhunter.
yeah.
He knows how to track people down. So and you get that from it's a good vibe. I think they have good chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, like right now, this scene with the coffee, and they're sitting there in the car, and Raylan is looking up all of this guy's Clemens, his history, and Wendell's giving a big, a big breakdown of like, yeah,
Exposition
exactly,
dump. Yeah.
really good. And so I thought it was a cool scene too with Sandy. She has Raylan's card and looking at it, she's like, yeah, he was kind of skinny and stuff, and wasn't that bad looking, and yeah, it's kind of
Kind of
nice,
mean.
kind of
Kind
mean.
of mean.
The way
Yeah.
she's like he has that look in his eyes where he's calm, but she's like, I can tell there's something in there, and
Yeah.
yeah, he's the guy's a
Yeah.
fucking caged tiger, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. Which we find out by the end of the episode.
Yeah. So yeah, now we're back to his daughter, and I'm sure you like this. It's at the 25-minute mark. The fucking the daughter hustling scene with the watch is fucking awesome.
Yes, you can definitely tell
Oh my
who her
God.
parents are.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, shit. The whole like basically, yeah, he's trying to sell her his bullshit watch, and she scams him for $7 and just
Yeah, $7.
that's a great scene.
Yeah, good job. Did you catch the fact that when she starts getting skeevy, being in that dark alley, she picks up a piece of glass or a piece of metal or something like that as a
Yeah.
weapon?
Yeah, she's always ready, and just like the old man.
Yep.
So, Let's see, moving on. We're getting to so we have more stuff with Sandy and let's see, keep Sweetie into his bar, and it's kind of
Yeah,
funny with this hidden spot up there where friggin' first she it's above the toilet seat and she friggin' puts her feet into the fucking toilet water.
yeah. Do you think she knew that the cops were watching her?
Huh. Um, I honestly didn't. I think it's like
Because why not? Because otherwise, why not just dump the gun?
yeah. I don't know. I think it's like I think it's from what I'm gathering, obviously Clement's a lot more careful than she is. I can see her because it's like she's aware, but she's not that good. And I could see like at some point she'll be the reason why he gets caught for because she's gonna
Mhm.
fuck up. You know what I mean? It's like she's aware, but she's not that good. I think a lot of it just by her mannerisms and the way she's talking, the way she's doing like the fake, like the fake coughing and stuff. Like I said, Raylan and Wendell knew like by her actions, like they both of us know he's in the back room. Basically, it's like
Yeah,
you're not doing a very good job of selling it. So
yeah,
that's like
yeah.
I don't think she's it's right now. I feel like she's getting by luck. You know.
I think that's what I feel
Mm.
as well.
So, okay, we have say Raylan's back, and oh yeah, so we have the lawyer, and the fucking lawyer's got Clement right there, and right there between friggin' Raylan and Clement, it's a big fucking just pissing match, just
Yeah,
between the two guys.
that was super interesting. I was really surprised they did it that way, where they have
Mm,
them meet each other.
mm,
I was really surprised about that. I
yeah,
didn't think that was going to come so soon, and I didn't think it was going to come in the way that it did.
especially like I said in episode two. I mean, they're already fucking like they're both just like it's the whole like we're doing words and shit too, but they're both pulling out. But
But when I think about it, I also think that I think it was episode 1 of Justified of the OG series. He runs up on Boyd
yeah,
pretty soon.
like
They suspect Boyd, and he comes in and just comes right to his, what was it, like a Nazi camp or whatever, and then
mm.
just comes right in to meet him.
This is also why too I love the like I said power streaming services to pause stuff at 31 minutes in right here. He's like, you can't get nobody to coordinate or what's the word corroborate,
Corroborate.
and
Yeah.
then yeah, the way fuck Raylan's like hang around courtrooms and county jails. You learn some words, don't you? He's like, yeah, you learn a few things about lawmen too. He's like, this ought to be good. He's like,
Yeah.
only two kinds of guys out in the street at guys your age. One's got passed over for the big chair, and the ones just love it so much they're gonna have to be dragged off. As
Yeah.
Rand looks at him, he's like,
Yeah.
"What?"
I like the fact that he's that Mansell is that kind of sociopath where, because they'll say a sociopath can usually, they can't empathize with people.
Yeah.
They don't feel empathy, but they can definitely read people.
Mm,
And he's definitely reading Raylan right. Raylan definitely at his age should have gotten the big chair. He should be a chief deputy at some point. He should be behind the desk like Art was
yeah.
somewhere. He should have been running his own show somewhere instead of just still out on the street running and gunning.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be realistic. Raylan doesn't want that. He may have made some comments about that in the original show, like when he
Mhm.
wanted to make a big bust, he wanted some rank, but we all know that was bullshit. What he really likes to do is hunt people down.
Yeah. That was the whole premise of Top Gun Maverick. Like Maverick, why the fuck you
Right.
pushing 60? You're still out there friggin' flying planes. Like,
Right. Yeah, he's still a captain instead of a
yeah.
admiral or something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
So he likes Raylan likes doing what he's doing, and this guy
before
sussed that out.
before I move on, because I mean, obviously, I always turn to you for military advice, but are there a lot of are there, I guess, any amount of guys in the military that purposely do that? They won't purposely advance their
Yeah,
careers. Really?
yeah. You're
Shit.
talking to one. You're talking to
Okay.
one. I was the E5 sergeant after 14 years. So
Okay.
now part of that is also because of my toxic personality got me passed over for promotion, and some of my shenanigans got me busted down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you are trying to still stay in the shit and still running and gunning, and you want to do that kind of job, the higher up you go, the less likely that's going to be. And it's set
Yeah.
up that way for a reason. Whether
Yeah.
it be law enforcement or the military, it's set up that way so that when you get too old to be running and gunning, you
Yeah.
get the cushy desk job. I mean, how many times was that joked around on the Lethal Weapon movies?
Yeah.
When they make them both captains for that one sequel, and it's like, what do we do now? We just
Yeah.
sit around, take long lunches, and say the chief is shitting bricks, and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens. So if you want to stay on the street and you want to keep, or like if you're in the military, you want to keep getting deployed,
Yeah.
the advancement will definitely you stop becoming whatever it is you were. Like me, I was a military policeman and a paratrooper. You stop becoming that thing. You start
Yeah.
becoming a person behind the desk. I mean, hell, look, one of our moderators, my buddy Derek NJ
Yeah.
on the moderator team. He's a sergeant first class now. And now he's, he used to be below me in rank, and he used to be a runner and a gunner. He still goes on jumps and stuff like that because he's still in the 82nd. But I mean, now he kind of sits behind the desk, and he's an administrator now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Raylan has definitely passed over himself for promotion so that he could stay out on the street.
Yeah.
So Mansell has him pegged correctly.
Okay. Yeah, good. Always wondered that. So, yeah, right now, so we have a good scene with Raylan, Wendell, and Sandy again. I like this. He's talking to her about, it's like they kind of know about her stopping by Sweetie's place to get some weed and shit, but also they know that she dropped off a gun, but they can't prove it. But
Yeah.
like he's talking to Sandy about the kind of person he is, but he's just like the way he says, well, the judge got killed. Maybe he was a good person, maybe he wasn't, but he goes, the same dude that killed that judge took his companion to a golf course and put a bullet in her head where her face used to be.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just showcasing Sandy. Like,
do you think Sandy doesn't know that that's what Mansell is all about, or maybe she doesn't know he's that bad, or what do you think?
I had, because there's so many, we see this all the time. How many toxic relationships that the woman, it's like the woman will be aware of what her boyfriend or husband is doing. She's aware, but she doesn't want to know the details. And I think this is Raylan telling her, like, hey, listen, you may be screwing this guy, but you really know what the fuck he's like. And she probably she doesn't want to know.
No, I don't think she does either. I don't think she has a full grasp of what he's really doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she knows she's not dating a CPA.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think she understands that she's with a complete psychopath.
I mean,
I said sociopath earlier, but I definitely put him as more of like a psychopath.
I mean, it's even a cliche, like, the Godfather. It's like, we don't talk business at the dinner table.
Sure.
And it's whether it's just how many friggin' just people don't want to know what's going on. They said they're aware of it, but I don't want to know details. And Raylan is like, well, I'm gonna tell you the fucking details.
Yeah. He does not pull his punches with that.
Nah. But, okay, so yeah, good scene. So now we have the final 10 minutes, which boy, I didn't see coming. Oh shit.
Well, they kind of gave it away a little bit in the trailer, unfortunately. But like you said, you didn't even know the show existed, so you didn't see a lot of these trailers. I've been seeing these trailers for 3 months.
See, and that's the one thing I've been saying for the past like 5 years, dude. With fucking especially movies, how many movies would be so much better if you didn't see a trailer? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's always a weird double-edged sword, because it's like, how often will you be interested if you like the art of having a subtle trailer is kind of lost, and it's been lost for a long time. So it's not anything that's new, because I mean, you want people to understand what it is that they're about to see, but at the same time, you don't want to give too much stuff away. I think this is one of those times they definitely should not have given away. Well, I'll let you describe what we're about to see.
Yeah, but no, since I didn't know what was coming up, but we have, so a good old Raylan and Wendell talking to Sweetie about their buddy and shit, and the last 10 minutes. So fucking Raylan's daughter, it's Willa. She makes some well, actually
Willa,
before that, actually, Wendell and Raylan are talking to Carolyn, Carolyn, which is a lawyer. And of course, now she's a lawyer for Sweetie too. It's like, this woman is everybody's lawyer.
Yeah. That's pretty good plot convenience. But we do get an interesting scene where her hatred for Raylan and what he represents kind of softens a bit when he sees that she's not just this toxic lawyer. She's actually just a woman in danger, because that's what she is. She's in danger.
I do like the
scene. He sees that.
Yeah, I'd say I do like the scene too with Sweetie talking to her about the sun god Ra, and the whole like how like fucking that's what Clement is. He's there to like destroy the light, and bad shit happens whenever he comes up, and so
yeah, I like that little that metaphor as well. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, we have the last 5 minutes. Raylan is calling his daughter, and Wendell's like, problem? Yeah, 15-year-old daughter. It has usual shit dealing with a teenager, and he's like, the first two words my daughter learned were actually daddy.
Yeah, as if to, and as someone who has a daughter, I can tell you that is extremely accurate.
And like you said, all these scenes between Raylan and Wendell, like Wendell, this episode too, I'm feeling this guy. I'm liking this.
I am. I was really surprised. I thought he would be super stupid and obnoxious and get in the way, I'm going to make a prediction right now. He ain't going to make it through the series. He's going to get killed.
Yeah.
I promise you. They're gonna give him a great moment. He's gonna, and I'm not talking of because he's actually sort of an insert from the show, and he's not really represented in the book.
Yeah.
So I really don't have any inside knowledge of that. I'm just saying from my own perspective of the narrative, I think he's not going to make it.
Well, yeah. So right here with 4 minutes left, and it's amazing. I always love when sometimes how much you can pack into a minute or 2 minutes or 4 minutes, and at the 45-minute mark and fucking 40 seconds, Raylan comes back. His daughter's cell phone's at the hotel room. She leaves her daddy a note, and he goes down to the fucking lobby, and the look in his face, he just holy shit.
I think back to one of the early episodes of Justified when he's having a heart-to-heart with Winona, Willa's mother, who at that time was his ex. Yeah. And he says, I never really thought of myself as an angry man. Yeah. And she's like, Raylan, you are the angriest man I've ever met. And you see that crazy in his eyes in that moment. Yeah. Boy, do you see it. Man, he sells so much in that performance with something that he doesn't even say.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have, he's trying to be polite and he's trying to keep the situation under control, but you can see in his eyes, that's that crazy villain from Scream 2 look in his eyes, is coming out. I would not have wanted to be Manziel in that moment.
Yeah. And I like too, it's like as he's talking to his daughter about chicken fingers, and well, for people knowing the scene, so Raylan comes downstairs and Clement is having dinner with Raylan's 15-year-old daughter, and just the look of, boy, and so he's having small talk conversation about the chicken fingers and stuff, and he's like, honey, go upstairs, and it's just kind of good. The whole like friggin' the look he gives him, and he somehow Clement finds out the term chicken fat. That's what he calls Raylan's old nickname.
Yeah,
which I don't know how he found that out, but okay.
He didn't. He made it up.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure. Maybe there's something he knew somebody, but
no, he made that up.
Yeah, so he's like, for the first time in your life, just say yes, Dad, and just that look of like, just right now, go upstairs, because of course, for his daughter, like, oh, this is just an old friend. Oh, right there. As soon as fucking Clement hugs her fucking dad, I'm pausing right now. The look on Alpin's face is just like, it just the fucking like you can imagine
the death stare,
dude.
Yeah.
So he's like stand up, and just says it very calmly. Pulls out the fucking marshal badge and a gun. What are you gonna shoot, an unarmed man? And I'm thinking, yeah, he will actually.
Yeah. I think he was danger close to that very thing happening. I like the fact that we see a little unhinged Raylan.
Yeah.
Because even I can't think too many times. I mean, we've seen him in actual fisticuffs. He never really seemed to be angry at any of the people that he took on, whether it was a gunfight or a fist fight.
Yeah.
Throughout the series, he was never really that angry or mad. I think he was really frustrated and tired by the season finale with Boyd, because Boyd had run him through the ringers so many times. I think there was that, a bit of exhaustion and just let's get this over with. But I've never seen that rage come out of Raylan before. He just unloads on Mansell and just beats the dog shit out of him.
And a good little callback to, he's like, I did some digging. I found about you and a guy in a rooftop in Miami. Like, good fucking callback to episode 1, man.
Callback to episode 1. Yeah.
Clanks his head against wood. Oh, I'm sorry. Clanks his head, puts him against the fucking back of a cab, and if this were Kentucky, I'd be tapping that. Oh man, right there. He said his daughter. He's like, yeah, normally she's too young for me. He's, but if this was Kentucky, I'd be tapping that. As soon as he says Raylan is fucking him up.
Yeah, that was, and that it's a calculated move by Mansell.
Oh yeah, definitely
to put Raylan in a bad situation. He's probably going to get a restraining order against him or some bullshit. Something like that is probably up for the next episode. But I mean, in that moment in time, he really made a gamble with his life, because as a violent man myself, formerly, and the look of horror when his daughter sees, what she gets a glimpse at what her dad really is for a minute there.
Yeah.
And with him losing it, I think it's, if you juxtapose that scene between the the scene when they get carjacked in the beginning of episode 1, she was almost like smirking.
Yeah.
Like these two guys don't even know what they're doing. And
Yeah.
when Dad pulls out a shotgun, she doesn't even flinch. When he blasts, their tire, she doesn't even make it flinch. She doesn't scream or cry when the car hit her. She doesn't
Yeah.
get upset. But watching her dad go crazy and unload on this
Yeah.
guy in the end of at the end of episode 2, and she's now she's horrified and she's in tears. And you see that regret on Raylan's face, like, I just let a little bit of the monster out a little
Yeah.
bit.
That's why, yeah, it's amazing how just a one like 2 or 3 minute scene, you could do like a 10-minute breakdown because, like you said, number one, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, okay, he just hit the son of a bitch 8 times and whooped his ass, but now it's like Clement is smart enough where he's pulling some like Joker shit where it's like
Yeah,
I'm goading you on purpose. And also one thing I do like more about this show that they don't use it too much, but this was 2010 when the show came out. So this was cable television. Now, because Hulu's a streaming service, Raylan's exact words like, "I see you near my daughter again, I'll fucking kill you." You
yeah.
couldn't say that back in FX.
No, yeah.
Eh,
I think Kyle Posey even said to me when we were talking about this episode yesterday, he laughed out loud the same time I did when when the two lawyers are talking at the bar,
mm,
and they spot Raylan and the other lawyer, who played to perfection by, I used to love her in a TV show called The Unit.
mm.
She was the sergeant major's wife.
I like that show too. Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, "You ever seen Yellowstone? I sure would fuck Kevin Costner if I got the chance." You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
breaking through all the racial lines right there. I loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they use it to good. I think they're allowed to say it once an episode. I think that's
Well,
the
I
rule.
I know it's this episode they said fuck about 4 times. So
Did they?
because it's on Hulu, because well, technically, I mean, I guess it's on FX, but, well, now it's like I know, like, even with South Park, once, was it I think the rule for Comedy Central was, like, midnight. Once you play an episode past midnight, South Park, because they started getting more raunchier, and
Okay.
certain episodes, they would drop, like, 4 or 5 F-bombs, but if you
What were the
listen
other times they dropped the F bombs in this episode? I didn't catch it.
I'll have to go through it again. I
Okay.
can bet you, like, but I'm pretty sure that they said it more than just one time, but I mean, I could
Because
be
I know
wrong, but
they in the first episode after the judge's car gets blown up, he says
mother
motherfucker, but they cut it off.
yeah, true. I mean, I'll look at it then, because it's like, it's FX, but then it's FX Hulu, so I'm not sure how that works out, but,
I'm
look it up.
pretty sure that they only can say it one time an
Huh.
episode. I'll have to look into that. That'd
Yeah,
be in
definitely.
Well, you know what? Follow us on the next stream
Yeah,
next week for the next episode, and we will have the answer
but,
for you.
as you said, though, the final scene was like he looks over and just railing after the rage kicks in, about to fucking murder this guy. He looks over and just like he's heaving and looks at his daughter and she's fucking crying her eyes out. And you're like, because
Yeah.
now she's like, oh, this is what my dad is really fucking like,
Right.
And in
The
fact,
the facade that he shows her through her
mm,
whole 15 years, the one he puts out in public, even when he's a lawman and he's hunting people down. What we just witnessed was a little bit of the old Arlo Givens.
yeah,
That was you know what I mean? That was the mine worker, the real fucking
mm,
bastard who'll just beat you to death.
yeah,
So a little bit of Arlo just came out of there. And now, yeah, he whooped his ass, but yeah, now, like you said, Mansell's too smart. Now he's got him for assault. Now he can get a restraining
yeah,
order on Raylan if he wants to,
yeah,
press charges, make his life super uncomfortable, if for no other reason to get him to back off.
yeah,
And he knows Raylan's trigger.
yeah. No, I can definitely see like the rest of the season. There's gonna be repercussions of what he just did, and it's on purpose. So it's like
Yeah.
that's as you said, man. It's this guy Mansell, man. It's like he's a very good villain. I'm liking it. So
Definitely, I stand on this, except for Boyd. Best justified villain I've ever seen.
nice.
Maybe best Elmore Leonard villain with
Yeah,
all of his books and stuff like that. I'd
yeah,
have to revisit some of his other work. He does great villains.
yeah.
I really like this guy. I think this guy's a great antagonist for Raylan.
And not to mention, I mean, he said he was purposely letting Raylan wail on him. We have no idea. Can this guy fight himself?
Oh,
Can he
I'm
get?
sure he can.
Yeah.
I'm sure
So
he
it's
can.
like
I'm sure
it's
he'd let Raylan do that. I
oh
guarantee he
yeah,
did.
definitely. Yeah. So yeah, episodes 1 and 2. I right now I am very, very fucking happy Justified is back. And I would even say like the drinker said, guys, between Invincible season 2 is coming out, Jack Reacher season 2, and there's been so many fucking great movies this year between Top Gun Maverick and we got freaking Mission Impossible, CISO.
Yeah.
Sorry, Maverick was last year, but just in general, like not everything is doom and gloom and not everything is terrible. Even Netflix, you can hate Netflix, but they had Extraction too. And you can't say that, everything is shit nowadays because it's not.
No, although I will stand on what I've said in a previous stream that we've done where I say that, I'm more of a TV streaming service person than movies.
Yeah.
Nothing in the movies has really blown my skirt up except for The Covenant earlier this year.
Yeah.
Everything else has been pretty mid.
Yeah.
I did enjoy Creed 3. I did enjoy Scream 6, but they were
Yeah.
sequels and
Yeah.
they're kind of riding on the coattails of their other stuff. But yeah, I have not been super blown away by anything. I'm more of I'm definitely more of a streaming service TV kind of guy.
What's scary is, man, this is July 22nd. Even my kid said, Dad, he goes, is there anything else for the rest of this year worth
No.
seeing? I'll say Dune 2.
At the movie at the movies?
I do want to see Dune 2, but that's it. I mean, Dune 2 is the only thing for the rest of this fucking year I actually want to see, but there's nothing coming out. It's scary.
I can't think of anything. I didn't know Dune 2 was coming out this year, but
because
would it in Christmas or something or
if they're smart, I forgot like they're changing up the dates and stuff, especially with the whole like the strike going on and shit. And well, thank God. Before we head out, so I knew you said this is a limited series. How many episodes are we getting?
Man, I was just about to ask you the same question.
I
don't know. I don't know. They do it. Hulu is very weird. Like what you and I talked about before we went live, before we started recording. They drop their new episodes at like 3:00 in the morning, which is weird. So like basically it's 3:00 in the morning on Wednesday. So like if you stay up late on a Tuesday night, which I kind of usually do.
Yeah.
I definitely don't get up early on a Wednesday morning, but yeah, it pops up, whereas Netflix would do it at midnight on the day. Hulu does it at 3 a.m. So technically it's every Wednesday. I don't know what it looks like on like regular cable on FX. I have Hulu streaming. I managed to get in June. I got into the $2 a month Hulu deal for 3 months. $2 for 3 months. $2 a month for 3 months. And and mostly just because of the show. Now I found other shows like Mr. In Between and Cruel Summer that I've also very much liked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mostly got it just for this and to watch old episodes of Family Guy and American Dad and stuff like that. So yeah, it drops at 3 a.m. If it's a limited series, I'd probably
I'm looking up right now. Officially it's 8 episodes.
Okay. So we're almost halfway through.
Yeah,
now
because we got
already.
so episode 3 said this will be in 4 days or what? Technically, for me it's Tuesday night. It's Tuesday night comes out, but your Wednesday, I guess.
Yeah.
But and
well, I mean, there's an hour difference. I'm in Kansas, you're in New York,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Because it says it's gonna be Tuesdays at 10 p.m. and so
Yeah.
available to stream the next day, Wednesdays on Hulu. So of course, so how many people have live cable nowadays still?
I have no idea. I don't know anyone who has live cable except at my bar.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who's got live cable. So
the finale airs on August 29th. So we have basically the whole month of we have 6 more episodes to go.
Yeah. So technically, what are we, a third of the way in? Is that how that works? I don't know math real good.
Well, I mean, I'd say a quarter then, because 8 episodes, so we're 25% done.
Yeah. So yeah, I think. Do you think it was smart for them to drop 2 episodes right off the rip?
I mean, yeah, and like I know people, and we shouldn't. I mean, won't delve in this too long, but I've listened to we listen to FNT and other streamers. People talk about the binge model versus the weekly episodic, and what we're doing right now. I actually prefer right now. I like the fact that Yumi can break down 1 or 2 episodes. I don't want to break down the entire season. I mean, in terms of content as well. If it was 1 episode a week, it's kind of more fun to make 1 video a week, but I still miss the old days.
I agree.
I miss the old days of I know you watch 24. I like the fact that I had to watch 24 1-hour episodes for 24 weeks in a fucking row. Like it just doesn't have the same impact of watching. Like, is it Supernatural? It's 15 episodes. I'd watch that starting in October, then the show ends in mid spring, and I feel like there's something more to digest or say Game of Thrones even. When Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon came out, myself and other people on YouTube, they'd watch an episode Sunday night, they'd dissect it, break it down, absorb it, give it some time to maybe even watch it a second time. And then next week get into it again. And there's just something inherently, I think, better as people, because how many times in the past 5 years have I seen, okay, I binge just one season for Cobra Kai. Then season 2 comes out, season 3. Oh yeah, I have to go back and rewatch season 1 and 2. I'm like,
No,
yeah,
yeah, you're right. You're
because
absolutely right.
I think people, if you absorb too much information too fucking fast, you want it missing a lot of it. And just something about a weekly, I prefer the weekly episodic shows. I just do.
I hear you. I hear you. I had that problem with Mr. In Between once I got FX and somebody actually did the reverse. I got the reverse toxicity because usually I'm the one going, "Hey, you got to check this show out. It's
Yeah.
badass." And then someone did that for me with Mr. In Between,
Hmm.
and it had ended, I guess, in 2020 or 2021.
Yeah.
And so I binged all 3 seasons within like I think like 3 days.
Yeah.
And yeah, now it's kind of I'm gonna have to rewatch it if I ever want to talk about it
Yeah.
intelligently. So yeah, I think this is good. By the way, I'd also point out we are one of the only YouTubers that are doing this right now.
Yeah. Hey, awesome.
A weekly recap of
And definitely,
Justified Primeval.
I'm going to share this post on our Facebook group. And like you're saying, now that, because I just wasn't sure we want to do this, but no, I'm 100% for you and me. People can get your replay, but like, look, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll grab a coffee, some fucking lemonade or some shit, and I will discuss, like,
Absolutely.
justify 3 o'clock in the morning because we're up anyway. And like you said, not a lot of people are doing it, but like I told my kid, Dad, I want to start watching Justified. I said, buddy, again, I don't have the time to binge 80 fucking episodes. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Just
eventually, yes.
make sure that you post that we are heavy spoilers on this
Good parts.
on
Yeah.
this yeah,
Yeah.
review, rewatch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
'Cause we
happy.
definitely just spoiled the shit out of the whole show.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it was a popular show. It's got a demand. It came back, and hey, fuck it. It's like, I mean, I like doing it for the fun of it, but hey, if we get like 100 views or some shit, who knows? But in the future, I will make it live. So this was our first time, my first time doing this, your first time doing this shit. So
Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad they got this in the can before the
yeah,
writers and actors strike.
yeah.
I'm so glad they got this done. So at least we have something till the end of August to
And
watch.
I definitely want to have at the end of when it's all said and done, as somebody who's read the book of Primeval, because now I don't want any information until I finish the show. That I like having somebody who read the source material. I can take your opinion on it if this was any good to the book. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
This is much more enjoyable. I like the character of Raymond Cruz.
yeah,
From he pops up in a couple of Elmore Leonard stories, but obviously I'm a bigger Raylan Givens fan.
yeah,
Obviously. And for the in that one flashback scene after the triple homicide drug dealer robbery,
yeah.
for the eagle-eyed viewers, that was Raymond Cruz, played by the same actor who played him in Out of Sight,
Shit.
in the car. He doesn't have any lines of dialogue, just a quick
Yeah.
cameo. Whether he'll pop up again or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be interesting if he does.
Yeah. All right. So this is, hey, cool. I mean, I look at an hour, 10 minutes per episode, but basically a half hour breakdown per episode. I'm fine with that. And fuck,
Yeah.
we'll make this a weekly live thing. So
All right.
Yeah.
So next week we're gonna have that answer for what was the question we're gonna try to figure out for next week?
well, it's like what's going to be the repercussions of what Raylan just did?
Yeah. Predictions on what you think is going to happen with this. Is going to be repercussions with his daughter? Is there going to be repercussions with his his legal standing?
Yeah.
I mean, I can envision Raylan maybe losing his badge here at some point.
That'd be interesting. Holy shit.
And it's not a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
That Raylan might even not make it through this series.
Hey, and it's like, and it's, I don't know. I haven't read the book, so as we go along,
well, again, Raylan is not in the book, so I can't.
Shit.
I'm flying as blind as you are. Yeah, Raylan is an insert for the show. He is not. He is not in the source material.
Good point. Yeah.
Raylan's character was not introduced until Pronto in 1993.
Yeah. Wow.
So
all right. So yeah.
All right, man.
I will finish the stuff and post it to Facebook. I'm going to make a whole new playlist on YouTube, and it's fun as hell. I wish more people would do breakdowns like this. So
yeah, absolutely. We are the first ones, YouTube.
Oh yeah,
we are the first ones.
I'll make sure I put down the description to spoilers. So
yeah. All right, stay toxic, everybody.